practice plan. I don't think there's a coach in the country, professional, collegiate, high school, that knows more drills in practice. I don't think they've run the same 2 drills all year long. So you could get someone who knows every single drill out there, different names, different ways to run it. But then you could also, on the same token, get a guy who loses his wallet, will lose his phone, walk out of the gym in 0-degree weather without his coat on that he wore into the gym.
I believe
so. So you get the total spectrum when you're dealing with wheels. But again, it's all fun, and you wouldn't have it any other way.
You said there's no coach professionally, collegiately, or in high school.
Yep.
That knows more when it comes to running drills and all that.
Yeah, he knows. He has the most drills. I swear he has a notebook full of drills from the last 20 years he's been coaching.
All right.
The girls can attest to that.
Wheels,
I'm
going to give the mic to you now. So that's a compliment. Normally when they say 4 seasons, they mean 4 personalities.
It could go either way.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be 4 different personalities.
If you had to describe the 4 seasons of you, how would you describe them?
Calm, crazy, forgetful,
and intense.
And intense.
And intense. Okay. So I've seen you on the sideline for over a decade. Has anything changed in your opinion of yourself on the sideline in over a decade?
No, I try and stay to the same routine. You know, the way I ran things at OCC, I brought the same thing here. The one thing I had at OCC was a great staff, and I got an unbelievable great staff here. And the fact that they're young, energetic, you know, Kyle and I, and we got Coach E and Holly. You know, Holly played for me at OCC. Coach E I've known for several years. Kyle and I have been together for 4 now, since I came to Liverpool. So it's just a nice dynamic, being able to work with different people and different coaches. You know, I think the one reason why Kyle and I work well together is we're just so energetic, and we're so intense when it comes to game situations, you know, and we're able to just talk things through with each other, and it's great to have someone there to, you know, throw things at you, and it's great to have that mind too, you know, to help you get through that.
You know, I was watching the scrimmage today, and I'm looking at your sideline, and I'm seeing you and 3 assistant coaches. There are some colleges that are fighting to have 3 assistant coaches. There are some teams in transition to D1, like Lemoyne, where they have 3. So when you go to high school, you might see 1 assistant coach, you might see a coach doing it by themselves. Bring me into putting this together, Wheels, because you coach at the collegiate level, and you run this high school like a college team, which I think is going to make y'all very dangerous for many years to come.
Well, you know, I always screw this up, but what's that old saying? There's a great woman behind a great man, or a great man. What is that saying?
There's always a great woman behind a great man.
There you go. Yeah. So there's a great staff around a good coach, you know, because the good coach wouldn't be where he is without a great staff. And you know, to be able to turn and talk and to get through what we need to do on a daily basis and a grind like we do for, you know, we've been doing this together this is our 3rd year, and we just talked about it the other day. It doesn't really sit in, but, you know, you're talking about the first year together, we went 21-4, and then the second year, last year, we went 23-2, and currently we're 17-3. So you're talking about, you know, single-digit losses in 3 years with a program that has been really successful, and a lot of that comes from the staff behind me.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, you said you're blessed to start your coaching career with this gentleman that's sitting next to you. What have you learned the most from Wheels?
By far the most X's and O, X's and O's, basketball, philosophy about basketball. That always will take the high road. I think, growing up, I always knew a lot about basketball. I played basketball, was around, a lot of people that played basketball. So that will always take the high road. Learning how, the ins and outs of a basketball game. He's just taught me so much about how to just be a head coach. Like I said, I always thought I knew a lot, but it was when I started working under him that I really felt like I grew the most. But also always being able to adjust. I feel like he's always got an answer for whatever the case may be. If it's a matchup on the floor, if it's preparing for a game, always being able to be rooted in what you do, but also what are they doing? What do you need to tweak a little bit to give yourself the best chance of success?
So being able to tweak, being able to learn on the fly and whatnot. Do you have a favorite drill since you never do the same one twice?
Yeah. So he never does the same one twice. I do the same drills over and over and over. That's when I coach softball too, and I do lessons and stuff. And I'm always, you don't have to overcomplicate it. But I laugh because he has such creativity and it keeps the girls on their toes. So I would say my favorite drill is. I would say my favorite drill in practice would be, I'm a big half-court shell guy. I love half-court shell. I love seeing the defense get after it. We don't usually play man, so it's good to see our girls play man. And I make them talk a lot. If they're not talking, I'm screaming at them. And it's just half-court offense is the hardest thing to teach in basketball, in my opinion. So to see them execute and a hard thing, I would say shell is my favorite.
So the other assistants, Holly and Coach E, how would you describe them, Kyle?
So Holly is the glue. She keeps everything together. She puts in our buses for us. She'll keep us. She's always got the word composed. She always keeps the girls and us composed. If we get out of hand, the girls get out of hand. She's there to keep everything. Kind of like a team mom aspect to her. Without that's not disrespectful at all. That's what the most respect I have for her. And then Coach E is the complete opposite. He's totally intense. Could get a little unhinged sometimes in a good way. We love with the addition of him with his energy and his experience and stuff like that. We kind of just we're a perfect balance. We all put things into the pot. We all do things that all the other three can check and or feel comfortable telling ourselves all right, we gotta pull this back or whatever. So it's just a group of four that we love each other. We text every day, off season, on season. We're texting in the group chat. So we get along, we care, we all want to win. I think that's the most important thing. We all care about winning, and if we're not winning, we're not happy. So that's kind of what we settle for. So that's what I would say makes us go.
Wheels, describe each of your assistants, Holly, Coach E, and Kyle.
Well, we'll start with Holly. She's been with me she played for me at OCC for 2 years back in 18 and 19, 19 and 20. And then when I got the job at Liverpool, she became my assistant coach. And she's been my assistant coach for the last 4 years. So what I like about Holly is she played for me, so she knows my system. She knows what we do. She knows what I like, what I don't like. The effort in practice, and she can let the girls know that this isn't right. This is not how we do things. So she supports me in that way. Coach E, he's a vocal guy, and what I like about him is kind of a football guy. He's tough, rough. So he can talk rough and tough with the girls, and kind of give it to him a little bit about when we're being soft and we're not playing hard, and he'll be the first one to come out with that, which I like. And then the guy next to me, which is we probably day one we gelled with our minds, our concepts, and what we do together. We wouldn't be as successful as we have been without that, and we kind of go hand in hand, and he's gonna be a great head coach someday. We had a game in Albany back in late December that I was able to coach the first game. I had my little guy with me, Michael, and he got sick overnight, and I had to rush him home in the morning. He had a fever, and we were supposed to play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had to leave the helm to these guys and this guy right here, and they came away with a big victory on the road and against a third-ranked team in the state. So it makes me feel comfortable that you got people like that can take over at a second in a blink.
And as you get set for what's to come here, we're at the end of the regular season, 17-3, going into the postseason. What have been the greatest assets, in your opinion, Coach, of this team that you take into the postseason? And then what's been maybe the biggest learning experience that the teams have?
I think for us as a basketball team that we can take, or we will take into the postseason, is, Liverpool basketball, and you ask the girls what it is, and it's transition, fast break, push it, score fast. That's our style of basketball, and then the defensive side of the basketball is just 1-3-1. You always can get better at technique in certain areas of what you're doing offensively and defensively, and I think tweaking what we need to do to get us a third straight sectional title is what they're all in for. We talked as a staff the other day. We probably had the best 7-8 practices that we had in the last 2 weeks, and we still got about 7 more before we open up next week. So we're just trying to keep to the grind and focused, and make sure the effort and energy is there day in and day out. We step on the floor.
Coach Kyle, for you, looking at what Mike just said about you've had some really good practices here most recently, you got about 7 more in you before you go into that first postseason game. What is this next week for you of looking at little nuances? Are you implementing anything? Are you looking at any intricate pieces to make sure that the ship, so to speak, doesn't have any holes in it?
Yeah, I think going forward for these last 2 weeks, what we've known we've had off, that the biggest thing was looking at ourselves. Don't change what we do. What we do is enough. We know the teams that we're going to play. We've played, obviously, the teams in our section multiple times over the last couple of years. Even the teams out in Albany, if we were to get by, obviously we got to take care of business here first, but if we were to get through, the teams in the next section we've played before. And then if we look ahead to the state Final Four, we know what sections we would play, and we've seen the similar teams there. So we know that it's not anything that someone else is going to do to us. It's just staying true to ourselves and understanding that it is win or go home now. We've been kind of harping to our seniors that, this is it. And our 2 seniors are our 2 leaders. So every day in practice, giving it your all for 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever the schedule is, and knowing that it comes down to us, how we play, our mentality, our energy is going to be the difference for us. So being ourselves is the biggest part.
Being yourself is the biggest part. Mike, before we get into rapid fire, I'm going to throw this one to you. The message that you want these girls to know right now here in this moment. And I'm going to get some attention for you. So, ladies, Coach has something he wants to say. So you
Girls,
should probably listen into this one.
So the question was, what do I have to say as a coach going forward, looking into what we have ahead of us as a basketball team? And it's funny that you asked, Dan, because I sent him a text message the other night about, and a lot of people did, some didn't, some were sleeping. I just said to them in a text message, I said, Sunday night, 2 weeks from tonight, you should be holding your 3rd straight sectional title banner at SRC Arena. I said, so the focus that we've had for the last 7 days in practice is important going forward as a basketball team. And I asked them all to make sure they picture in their mind and think about what's going to get us to that next step as a basketball team. And most of these girls have been together for 3-4 years, so I expect nothing more than that focus and the effort going forward for the next week to start our sectional title runoff in the semifinals Wednesday night against the winner of Rome Free and Bishop Ludden.
Love it.
And I know that's right.
So, with that being said, we're going to play some rapid fire. Wheels has played rapid fire with me, probably one of the longest coaches in the history of my career that we have asked each other questions. So, you get to ask me the first one, Wheels. What do you got?
Might have to put you on the spot right out of the gates.
Okay. I have no idea. We've known each other so long that I don't even know where you're going to go.
The rumor out there is you would be a great Liverpool school board member. So I would like your thoughts on if you had the opportunity to be on the Liverpool school board, what would your views and your concepts look like?
Okay. So the question was if the rumor mill is saying that I would run for the Liverpool school board.
Correct.
Okay. And what would I do? What would be my views? Well, anything in my life, I lead with God. That is a must. I left the company. The last time I ever worked for somebody, I left because I was not going to let go of my morals, my values, and God. So if I were to be on the Liverpool school board, I would lead with God. I would lead with faith. I would lead with morals and values. I would listen. I would take in all the information, and I would make my best decision that I think would help people not only right now, but down the road and for years to come. And I would never make a decision without putting my thought into it, praying about it, talking to my inner circle that I trust, and making a decision for the greater good of everybody. You're not going to please everyone, but I jokingly as a child, but not jokingly, said that one day I might run for President of the United States. So if I were to do this public office, that's my first step in that direction. So I would say that if I were to run, I would run with my heart, pure heart and good intentions. I would run with love and care for the community. And I would run with every effort to be someone who leads with common sense, justice, kindness, empathy, and seeking for this community to be better and to be better together is what I would do.
What do you think? Sign them up?
Sign them up.
Let's go, Danny!
Good question, Wheels. Good question. All right. So, Wheels, if I did run for President of the United States, who would you want my vice? Who would you choose to be my vice president?
I would probably have to answer that with someone that has the same morals and someone that same beliefs and someone that sees the outlook that you would have with God and the future and run it with your heart and whatever you do. I would think that you would have somebody as I couldn't give a name because there's several people out there that could probably have that same goal and concepts.
Appreciate you for having me.
Appreciate you, of course. Yeah. No, that list is very.
Hold on, Danny. 4 o'clock tomorrow. 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Look at that. We get to use my show to announce practice tomorrow.
Thank you, girls.
4 o'clock. We'll
Thank you,
then.
Dan.
I appreciate you. All right.
Go
So
ahead.
I appreciate that. Thanks for that. Very true. All right, Coach Kyle, what do you got for me?
Trying to think of what I asked last year and not ask the same question.
When I said Crescent, I'm saying it right.
Crescente.
Crescente.
Crescente?
Yeah, so
I thought it was a T too, but when you said it, I thought you stopped.
Crescent with an E.
Crescent with
That's how
an
you
E.
spell it.
Crescente. Okay.
All good.
That's what my mouth wanted to do as an
Yeah.
Italian.
Yeah.
But I thought, okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's all right. People
Well,
mess it up in many ways.
No,
so.
that's
No
unacceptable
offense.
for me.
No offense
Crescente,
taken.
I got it.
If you could have any car in the world, no price matters, any car it would be.
Oh, I thought I wanted. I mean, I kind of want a Tesla, but I don't want to plug it in.
Right.
So I want a hybrid Tesla with the butterfly doors to remind me of the DeLorean from Back to the Future. And there is one that's like that, so that's what I want.
Yeah.
All right. My question back to you, Coach Kyle. So, knowing that Mike and I have known each other for so long, if Mike and I were going to open a restaurant, and there was going to be a Mike special, and there's going to be my special, what would be our specials on the menu if you had to pick a dish to call the wheels and a dish to call the DT special?
All right, so I listened to the early interview. So for your special, I would say the turkey roll with a side of steak, blueberry pancakes for dessert.
All right, so you use my parents' stuff. I
Yep.
like it. Okay, all right.
For wheels, this is where the Four Seasons come in, and this season isn't so great. I've seen that kitchen in his house. Ramen noodles would probably be a good guess for his house. Pancakes burnt on one side, uncooked on the other would be a good special for his house.
Okay. So burnt, but still have some,
Burnt, but still have some,
in it.
yeah,
Okay.
still have some flavor. No, I would say we've gone out to eat a couple of times.
Okay.
He's got some Italian heritage. I would go. He's a classic guy. I would go with chicken parm. Chicken parm. The wheels chicken parm.
Okay, all right. The funny thing about that first thing you said is when I was a freshman in college, I lived on peanut butter sandwiches, not peanut butter and jelly.
Yep.
Peanut butter sandwiches and chicken ramen. That was like the cheapest way for me to live.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's been there before. Right?
I've been there.
I've been there.
So with that being said, for Coach Kyle Crescente,
Crescente.
I said it right first time. So you can hit me, Kyle. Coach Kyle Crescente, as well as head coach Mike Wheeler, and obviously Coach E, Coach Holly as well. Please give a round of applause to your Liverpool girls basketball coach and show them some love. Appreciate you as well.
Appreciate you, Dan.
Thank you.